Yo, we're back for another UFC card breakdown and predictions video. We've got Peter Yan versus Davison Figuerido in China this Saturday for the fight night. We're going to be going through the whole card, prelims and main card. We have a lot of fights to get through for this fight night, so let's begin. The first fight on the card is going to be Maheshate versus Nikolas Motta. So, I just want to say that if we don't get two home country prospects fighting each other at any point in the card, they're likely going to totally tip the scales for the home team fighters. So the Chinese fighters on this card, whenever they're not fighting other Chinese fighters, or Asian fighters at that, are probably going to get a layup. So that's what I'm going to go with as a general theme for this card. But I did watch fights, so we're going to get some good breakdowns. I think that this is going to be a textbook example of the matchmaking that I was talking about before, though. Maheshate is taking on the Manuel Torres victim, Nikolas Motta. So I will say that losing a fight to Borshev is not good for Maheshate, but losing a fight to Borshev where not a single takedown shot is not very good. It's especially not very good, you know. But I'll look past it, though, since he does have a first-round KO over Steve Garcia, who we do know is actually pretty good, because he beat Chase Hooper before he became Super Hooper and reinvented himself at lightweight. So that is kind of something that he does deserve credit for. And Nikolas Motta got starched by Manuel Torres. Do you remember what happened to him against Ignacio Bahamundes, man? I'll never forget. It was so funny, dude. The craziest part is that I literally picked Manuel Torres too to win that fight. So we won't talk about it. We're just going to continue to move through the card. Motta's coming off of a big win over Tom Nolan, but Tom Nolan has literally a styrofoam chin made out of cellophane, actually, and Motta's hands didn't look especially crazy in that finishing sequence. You can watch it if you don't believe me. He was just kind of lazily throwing out these 1-2s. Tom Nolan is so bad that he just kind of headbutted Nikolas Motta's fist, and it wasn't a hard punch either, but it sat him, and he just lost the fight. Got TKO'd after he got dropped, so happens, I guess, but I don't think it'll happen to Maheshate, so I think he'll win a decision. I think this fight is going to be awful and boring. Moving on to the next fight, it's going to be Cuang versus Xiao. So I'm going to say Cuang is a contender who has losses on the regional scene that most people will ace on their way to get to the UFC, which is kind of interesting, you know? He's getting backpacked and like RNC'd up against the cage by new fighters on camera, which is not good. I mean, it's not good at all. But something that is kind of favorable for him is the fact that Xiao is actually horrible, and he's a clinch spammer and has zero threat of hurting people on the ground. So all he can do is clinch. Xiao lost his last fight in the UFC against Chang Ho Lee via a decision that was like a robbery, where Chang Ho Lee lost the fight, and it could have gone to Xiao, but oh well, boohoo, cry me a river, cry me a river. But you can't be, my point is, you can't be getting robbed by Chang Ho Lee in decisions, bro, because you're supposed to knock these fighters out, bro. So if you ask my honest opinion, Song Yadong snoozes all of these guys because he's actually about it. So Cuang via decision is what we're gonna go with. The next fight is actually gonna be pretty fun. It's gonna be Loner Kavanaugh versus Jose Ochoa. Jose Ochoa is a young Peruvian MMA prospect who fights like a bat out of hell. He's a crazy, wild striker. He's pretty incalculable because he is so uncalculated with the way that he fights. And this works for him against lower-level competition where you can rely on power and not technique, you know? He's just a very nasty striker. But you can't just want it really bad, you know? And he fights like he really, like 99 hard on this guy, you know? But Loner Kavanaugh is who I'm going to be siding with here, because UK prospects right now are pretty solid, and when an Englishman begins his fighting career in the UFC, I'm actually pretty excited to see how far he goes, especially whenever he comes out of the Cage Warriors promotion like Loner did. So I will say that Kavanaugh fought on the Contender Series, and he starched a guy via first round with a straight punch. It was a walk-off KO, and that's what got him his contract. So the clips I've seen of his other knockouts are pretty nice. Some fighters have this weird appearance of being brawlers, but actually staying very technical all the time. I think that he does feign like he is going to brawl with whoever he's about to knock out, and he baits them in with like the appearance like he's about to just start scrapping and throw caution to the wind, but he's still with it the whole time. So whenever these guys explode in a range, he's just going to plant and snipe them. So I think that that's probably likely what we're going to be able to see here. I think he'll find a round 2 KO or round 1 KO Kavanaugh, and then he'll finish the fight via TKO. He'll drop him in round 1 or 2, entering range like a goofy, and then he'll end up getting a TKO is what I mean to say. So that's going to be my pick. It's going to be funny. I think all Kavanaugh needs is just one good shot. I think that it'll land at some point in the fight, and then we'll see a brutal knockout. It's going to be funny. I think this card is going to be filled with brutal knockouts, so you hear me say that a lot. Carlos Hernandez versus Nyamjargal Tumendemberel. And I just hit that first try, so somebody needs to mail me like a gold or a bronze trophy or something, because that was hard on me. I don't want to do that again, but I'm gonna have to. So this is a funny fight because Carlos Hernandez is coming off of a loss to Ray Surya in his last fight, and he took another L to Tatsuro Taira before then. So they're giving him another Asian fighter to spin back on, but is he gonna be able to do it? I don't know. And the thing about this Asian fighter that he's match made against is that he is no regular Asian, man. This is a proper Mongolian. So he's a strong grappler. He has great attacks on the feet, and he's very crazy and will get in there at all costs. His pace is a sprint, and he's going to be doing all he can to break Carlos Hernandez in half wherever the fight goes. So I say that Hernandez is pretty breakable. I think that this pick kind of makes itself at that point. I'd say that Tumendemberel wins via round 1 KO or sub. Can be either one, I think. So we're moving up the card now. It's going to be Ming versus Feng Xiaocan. And I will say this is a pretty easy one, and it's an uninteresting fight, so I'm going to speed through the breakdown. Ming is a fighter I don't hate. She's busy on the feet, incredibly low damage, and she has a decent clinch and grappling package on her too. If she wins this fight, it's just going to be better because of the fact that she's better than Feng Xiaocan. And she has 2 notable wins that I watched. She fought this woman named Xin Yu, and she wrestled her. Ming did. And then this other woman named Lee Soo-yeon, who's from Korea. And this other promotion that she fought in, she outstruck her on the feet. So she has a pretty diverse skill set. I rate it. It's okay. Feng Xiaocan fought this woman named Milo Motono from Japan in a promotion called Happy Elephants, and she just got wrestled. Spent the whole fight on her back or up against the cage and just lost the decision. So I'm going to say Ming via decision, and we're going to move right through to the next fight on the card, which is going to be Kiran Sahota versus Donghun Choi. So both of these fighters came up off of, this is another recurring theme we're going to see. A lot of these fighters came up off of Road to UFC, which was basically like the Ultimate Fighter, but just for Asian fighters on like that like circuit. It produced some pretty cool talent. This is like more fighters who are going to be fighting for permanent spots in the UFC. From this Grand Prix, we have some Indian prospects who are pretty cool. I will say that Kiran Sahota had better wins on this run through Road to UFC than Donghun Choi did. The clips that I saw of him, they didn't look better than Donghun Choi looked in his fights, though. I mean, whenever I say better wins, I'm saying like he actually won the fights more decisively. Donghun Choi won back-to-back split decisions to get to where he is now. But he fought some harder competition, and that's the reason why he struggled more. So, all of the people that he fought in Road to UFC, Donghun Choi, they offered bigger power threats than Sahota does provide. And I don't see him getting bloodied up and hurt Donghun Choi like he did against this guy named Angrad Bisht, who's another Indian guy. I'm going to pick Choi to win over Christian Bale from The Machinist. And I'm going to say that he does it by... I could see Sahota getting subbed because he is so tall. Like, you're getting wrestled. This dude is so wiry. So I think some type of either unanimous decision through grappling or a late sub in like the 2nd or 3rd round. We're going to move on. We're going to have Baaergeng Jeleyesi versus Yu Su Young. I'm not even going to complain about the names anymore because I'm handling it actually pretty well. I'm just going to keep on giving myself the benefit of the doubt, and we're just going to keep on rolling through it. I can't find footage of either of these guys. This is the first time this has happened. I do not own Fight Pass, so I can't just watch the Road to UFC fights like whenever I want. So I really don't have anything to go off of. I'm looking at the wins of both of theirs on the Road to UFC, and I can see that Su Young probably has beaten better fighters. Jeleyesi caught a sub, though, on his first fight on this like Grand Prix circuit. It was a 9-5 fighter named Lee Yunfeng. So we're going to go with Young, who seems to have a been given harder tests and rose to the occasions on like multiple different outings. None of these dudes are very good though, so I'll say Su Yung wins unanimous or split decision. We're gonna go on to the main card. That was gonna be the featured fight of the prelims. This is gonna be the opener of the main card. It's gonna be Zhang versus Ozzy Diaz. Zhang, I want to say, is a real hitter, and he has devastating knockout power. And he's demonstrated this over Brinson Ribeiro by landing one of the most textbook combos ever thrown in a cage, in my opinion. In Ozzy Diaz's last 2 fights in the LFA, he has 2 knockouts, and they brought him into the UFC basically just to feed him to Zhang in front of a crowd of Chinese fans. Ozzy Diaz is a guy that could shock us because he is very aggressive, but I think ultimately he'll just be speeding towards a brutal finish at the hands of Zhang. So that's what I'm going to call another round 1 walk-off for Zhang, and that's what it's going to be, I think, man. So I'm pretty confident in this pick. The next one that we're going to get moving up the card is going to be Volkan Oezdemir versus Carlos Ulberg, and this is another fight that has violent knockout written all over it. And it's not going to be Volkan Oezdemir going to sleep, I'm telling you right now. Volkan is getting up there in age. Well, actually, he's only 35, but anyways, whenever he gets fights announced now, since he has weathered a lot of damage throughout his career, I'm just really hoping that every fight isn't that one fight where he starts to, like, begin his decline. And he hasn't shown any of that, like, since I had this, like, worry inside of me. So I'm not even sure if it's warranted at this point. But if he does start slowing down, this could be problems for him. The thing that I will definitely side with Volkan Oezdemir for in this fight is the fact that Ulberg has chin issues and defense issues that he's displayed against Kennedy and Zechiku, who again is actually terrible. So Ulberg seems to have improved and has great power, but unless Volkan is slowing down, the same Oezdemir that knocked out Johnny Walker and busted his nose up against the cage would have done even worse things to Carlos Ulberg at the same time if they were to fight, like, from that moment. So I still want to believe that that's true. I'm going to say Oezdemir via horrendously disgusting knockout in the second round. Moving up the card, we have Wang versus Gabriella Fernandez. They're trying to give us a bunch of knockouts on the main card, and I actually appreciate the fact that they've, like, match-made these fighters and put them where they are. This is probably going to be a knockout in a women's fight, and that's timing. So Wang is here to sleep this girl, Gabriella Fernandez. Gabriella Fernandez has lost to Jasmine Jasudavicius, which is not bad because she didn't get finished, but she lost to Teresa Bleda right afterwards and bounced back with the decision win over Carly Judas. So that's the reason why she's here right now. If you look at Wang's record, you won't find a single loss. Perfect 9-0, like, and she's the female Joker, and, like, you know, she's gonna knock out this girl. I hope she does the thing at the weigh-ins. It's not cringe whenever she does it because she knocks out women. She got a knockout over Victoria Leonardo in her last fight. She slept her out cold, dude. So we never see stuff like that at women's flyweight. I hope she does it again. That's what I'm going to pick to happen. A round 1 KO over Gabriella Fernandez. Moving on, we have Song Kenan versus Muslim Salikov. This will be another good fight. I'm very confident in. Muslim Salikov struggles against young and explosive fighters who have good fundamentals or a nuclear power threat. So he lost to Randy Brown. He lost to the Leech, Li Jinliang, and Nicholas Dalby. But, I mean, he's an active kickboxer. He has good pacing, and he wins fights on volume. Song Kenan did a good job of making himself not look soft in the Ian Gary fight, even though he lost. He has a recent loss to Kevin Gisette. It's a hard fight to win because of the range. You know, Brian Battle is just different. So, I mean, there's a reason why they don't get match made. But he has pretty unimpressive wins over fighters like Ricky Glenn, who aren't even in the UFC anymore. Another random, like, loss to Max Griffin from a couple years ago, too. And then otherwise, he just beat up a bunch of nobodies. So that's the reason why I'm picking Muslim Salikov. Even though he literally is 40 years old, I think he's going to win by decision. He'll outpoint Kenan or hopefully finish the fight, and then we'll all get turned over it. So that's what I'm picking to happen. This is going to take us on to the co-main. That was the featured fight. The co-main is going to be pretty uninteresting. It's going to be Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. And honestly, I'm just going to say it. Tabitha Ricci does have the main character, Dana White privilege, plot armor. And that's the reason why she wins fights, bro. She's decent enough, but the UFC scriptwriters definitely cater towards her because of the fact that she's dating Callum Walsh. And that's that guy at the organization. Is constantly trying to promote. I don't know why the UFC gives him so much press. Like, he must have, like, made a bet with Dana in Vegas or something and lost. Or won. And that's the reason why he's always on our screens, so. I mean, one thing I will say is Yan Zhenong kind of went out like sad in her last fight against Wei Li. She got knocked out, subbed, and decisioned in the same fight, which is absolutely, like, it's kind of impressive. But Tabitha Ricci probably rim packs her, I think, in her home country. But if Yan Zhenong has like a surprise KO for Ricci, like in her back pocket tucked, I'm not really upset, honestly. I wouldn't mind being wrong about this. So I think that Ricci does win a decision. But, like, who's losing sleep over that, you know? Yan Zhenong losing in China. Who cares? We're going to go on to the main event. This is the reason why we're all here, dude. So, this is the big one. This is going to be Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. And one thing that I'm going to mention right off the cuff. We all know that Petr Yan is good. He's great. He's amazing. We love Petr Yan, in fact. But he's coming back from reconstructive ACL surgery and a meniscus tear from his fight with Song Yadong. He's nearly 42. Not 42. Like 42. He's nearly 40. And he looked pretty old gassing against Song Yadong. But he still won. Even though, like, again, he got hurt in the first round. So, I mean, it was very impressive that he still mustered, like, a win there. But Figgy isn't going to be an easy fight is what I'm saying. Figueiredo hits like a bus, dude. And he can grapple with the best in the division. So, one thing that I feel like is overlooked, bro. Going back to his power. He's dropped Chito Vera with his hands. And, like, bro, you could say Chito Vera's chin's been compromised by the knee that Sean O'Malley landed. But, dude, that hasn't been proven. That's just a theory. That guy actually does have a granite chin. And he got dropped by Figueiredo, which is insanity. So, I'd like to see him do these types of things more. Because I really feel like he could knock anyone in the division, bro. I feel like he could knock out anyone in the division. I feel like anyone could get slept by Figgy. And, like, he is a violent guy, dude. And I really like watching him fight. So, my dream is for him to win this fight and then get scheduled against O'Malley in a return bout. And then watch them fight, dude. That would be a crazy scrap, man. So, I'm going to pick a vicious KO from Figueiredo. Just going back to that power. I want to see it happen, dude. I feel like with legends like Petr Yan, who, like, have capped out, I don't think that he'll ever be champion for as long as Merab holds the belt. We've already seen what happens whenever they fight. I don't really care to watch him make another run to the title either, so. I want to see Figueiredo knock out Petr Yan. So, that's going to be the card. I feel like I just lost all 33 of my subscribers right now by picking Figueiredo to knock out Petr Yan. But, man, I'm standing on business, bro. I don't care. That's really what I think. So, please like, comment, and subscribe. Or if you're angry at this point in the video, go in the comment section and call me names. Thank you so much for watching up until this point. My more content coming soon. I love you all. Take care.